Like to call to order the November 14th, 2024 regular meeting of the Harris County Board of Education. At this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve our agenda.
Move.
Mr. Lips, seconded by Mr. Proctor. Any discussion? All in favor? All right. And at this time, I will entertain a motion that we be excused to executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent, to consider a matter involving the disclosure of personally identifiable information from a student's educational record, and to consult and meet with legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation, settlement, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought or to be brought or against the school district or an officer or employee in which the officer or employee may be directly involved. Do I have a motion? Mr. Goodnow, second. Mr. Green, any discussion? All in favor? We will be excused to executive session. All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion that we exit executive session. Mr. Litt, second. Mr. Goodnow, any discussion? All in favor? All right, so we will now reconvene the November 14th, 2024 regular meeting of the Harris County Board of Education, where our mission is ensuring an excellent education for every child in Harris County. And our vision is one community committed to the well-being and preparation of every student for lifelong success in a global society. At this time, I'm going to ask Harris County Carver Middle School student Delilah Lacey to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, that will take us to item F on our agenda, that the Harris County Board of Education enjoy the school opening presented by Harris County Carver Middle School. Dr. Finney?
I believe Mr. Boykin has his chorus here. And turn on my mic. Mr. Boykin has his Harris County Carver Middle School chorus here, and Miss Jennifer Taylor, the proud principal, is here along with them. And so I'm going to let them dazzle us with their fantastic presentation.
Good evening. Thank you guys for letting us be here tonight to present just a very small piece of the Harris County Carver Middle School Fine Arts Department. Mr. Boykin would like to say just a few words on behalf of the Fine Arts Department.
Hey y'all, I am the department chair. However, the department is ran by Ms. Hunt, Ms. Tharp, and Ms. Slappy, and then I just get a text that says, we need you to say this, so I do that. So the HCCMS Art has several students have won awards at the Houston Medical and Georgia National Art Fair recently in weeks. HCCMS Theater has just did the performance of Rainbow Fish on last Tuesday and last Wednesday, and they had a very successful run. Several of these students were in that production. Wave your hands. There we go. Great. Awesome. Today we premiered our Harris County Carver Middle School pep band at the basketball game. When I left, we were down by 2 points. They scored a 3-pointer, so we were up by 1 point. I'm waiting for the final score, so it's a nail biter. Next week, the Scores program will also be performing for our Relay for Life. And we also just want to, and of course I left them in my car. We wanted to invite y'all to the second annual Harris County Carver Middle School Winter Arts Extravaganza. We split up into 2 nights this year. So December 9th at 6:30, we will have our 7th grade night. And December 12th at 6:30, we'll have our 8th grade night. So we hope that y'all are able to come out and support us there. Awesomeness. The group that I have in front of you are our 8th grade chorus. Raise your hand if your first time in chorus was 4 weeks ago. Be proud, be proud. You got this, you got this. All right, so they have worked really hard in these last 4 weeks to put this together for y'all, and so I hope y'all enjoy.
Great. All right, so that will take us to item G, that the Harris County Board of Education recognize the Harris County High School softball team for winning the 2024 GHSA 4A State Championship.
Good evening, Seth Bierman, Harris County High School. Thank you all for your support, not only to just our students, but also our student athletes. So really putting us over the top here and giving us the best opportunity to compete. I want to take this time to thank our coaches. A lot of times coaches go unrecognized in the countless hours they put in, not only in their classroom, but to turn around and have to go onto that field and spend time away from their own children to pour into our students. So if you will, just give me a hand. Let's give the coaches a hand. Thank y'all. And I also want to thank the parents to these players. I understand that, you know, all the lessons and the equipment and the broken Easton Ghost bats and having to go out and buy new ones every other week. So if we could give a hand to our parents that are here. But it is my honor and pleasure to introduce you to the third ranked team in the entire state of Georgia, the number 4 ranked team in the entire nation, your 2024 4A softball state champions, the Harris County Lady Tigers. And I'm going to ask Coach Jenkins to come up and say a few words. So Coach, come on up just to give some of Coach Jenkins' accolades. This is his first year here at Harris County and brought us a state championship. It's long overdue. It's been 24 years. Coach Jenkins was named the Region Coach of the Year. This is the best winning percentage in school history, going 34-3. And Coach Jenkins was also, one of his personal accomplishments was he was able to secure his 300th career win and then exceeded that greatly. So without further ado, Coach Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. Bierman, for doing that. And thank you to the school board and to Dr. Finney for having us here tonight. And we want to also thank you for the support that you've shown all season. You know, it means a lot to me and a lot to the girls when we look out in the crowd and see your faces out there, supporting us and then seeing you down in Columbus. And, you know, I appreciate the recognition, but as I've said over the years, it has nothing to do with me. You know, I'm surrounded by unbelievable coaching staff that make me look good. And, you know, girls that are, you know, they're great softball players, but they're even better young ladies. And without that, we wouldn't be where we're at. So I'm just blessed to be a small part of this. So thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And thank you for supporting us all year. We really appreciate it.
I would just like to pass along my personal congratulations to you all. It was great getting to watch you, you know, during the regular season and then during the run for the state championship. I know you faced some stout competition and you stood up strong. You represented the county well, and the biggest thing is you wear that HC now, and be proud of that. Be proud of that. We're going to ask that you all come up, but I'm going to let the other members of the board, if they wanted to make some comments, do that. And then we're going to ask you all to come up so we can shake your hand.
Chair,
Yes,
could the coach tell us the players' names?
sure. You're going to put him on the spot. Huh?
We are missing a few girls. Right now we're playing north side and flag football and hopefully running the score up on them. So they're not here right now. So I will call out the ones that are here. We have Lindsley Brown. Lindsley, if you want to stand up, wave, smile. Laney Dansby. Ivy McCormick. Avery Lee. Tatum Richardson. Gracie Guthrie. Her twin sister, Laney Guthrie. Harper Horton. Caroline Gatewood. Madison England. And Haley or KK Brown. And then our coaching staff is Coach Taylor Harper, Coach Derek Branch, Coach Tara Wingard, and Coach Jamie Gowdy could not be here tonight.
Very good. Coach, if you would, your coaches and your team come up and let us recognize you.
Yeah, and look, congratulations. And I'm saying, coaching several of these ladies, I don't know if all of them are here, but several ladies have signed to go to the next level.
Yes, sir. So we have 5 seniors that are graduating. All 5 of them are going to the next level. So we've got Lindsley Brown is going to the University of North Georgia. Laney Dansby is going to Georgia Southwestern State University. Avery Lee is going to Point University. Tatum Richardson is going to Georgia Highlands, and Madison England is going to University of Virginia at Wise. At Wise, is that right? All right, at Wise. Yes.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. Y'all come on up.
Well done. Great job. Great job. Well done. Well done. Good job. Well done. Good job.
Great job.
Great job. Well done. Harper, great job. Well done.
Congratulations.
Great job.
Very well done.
Awesome. Thank you. Great job.
Good job, Coach. Yes, sir.
Well done. Well done. Very good job. Well done.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very loud, fellas. All right, so that will take us to the public participation portion of our meeting. And Dr. Finney, did we have anyone from the public signed up to speak this evening?
Yes, we do. We have Miss Lynn Meadows from Carpenter's Way Ranch. And she's going to be talking just a little bit about the Georgia Qualified Foster Child Care Donation Credit that people can benefit for. Now, stop me if I'm wrong, but they can donate and receive a tax credit.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm sure you're going to have many more details than that.
will. And is there a timer?
Good evening.
I'm going to do 5 minutes. Good evening, Dr. Finney. Thank you for this invitation. School board members, educators in the room, and other citizens of Georgia. I'm really thankful to have this opportunity to be here tonight. We currently have over 11,000 foster children in the state of Georgia. And many of those children are on the verge of aging out of the system, 18 or older, trying to make the transition from foster care toward adulthood and independence. That transition, as you know, represents a very crucial and vulnerable time in any young person's life, but especially in the lives of foster kids who typically have a less reliable support system to help them. So the state of Georgia recognizes that this is an extremely precarious time in the lives of our young people. So in 2022, Georgia established a new dollar-for-dollar tax credit, which allows Georgia state taxpayers to redirect their state tax dollars to a qualified recipient organization that helps aging foster kids who are engaged in post-secondary education. Now, this tax credit is specifically designed to help these students make a successful transition from foster care to adulthood and independence through furthering their education. There are 39, so Georgia, you can redirect your tax dollars to one of 39 qualified recipient organizations. And one of those is right here in your own community, our own community, and it's the Methodist Home for Children and Youth, better known here as the Carpenter's Way Ranch. And I'm proud to serve as Vice President of Church Relations and chaplain for that ministry, which is 152 years old. Now, the statewide allocation for funds for this new foster child success tax credit was $20 million last year, $20 million again this year, meaning that the state will approve up to $20 million of requests for this particular tax credit. Last year was the first full year of the tax credit, and Georgia taxpayers only requested a little over 11 million of the 20 million that was allocated. That means we left 9 million on the table unrequested. This year, I just checked today, the Department of Revenue website, as of October 28th, this is a little discouraging, but as of October 28th, less than 4 million of the 20 million had been requested for this tax year. So unless we get the word out, we'll likely leave money on the table again this year that could be earmarked to help foster kids make a successful transition to adulthood. And I want to tell you about one of those kids that is benefiting right now. I'm going to call him Mark. It's not his real name. He spent the last 3 years prior to this July, the last 3 years at the Carpenter's Way Ranch, and he did what many foster kids are unable to achieve. He graduated high school. Most foster kids don't. The success rate for high school graduation for foster kids is abysmal. It's less than 50%. Mark, I'll call him, began this past July as a student at Helms College in Macon, enrolled in their culinary arts program. He was already a successful self-taught chef at Carpenter's Way, and he has a dream of managing and owning his own restaurant someday. We believe he's got the self-confidence to make that happen. Part of Mark's tuition is being paid by these Georgia state tax dollars that came through the Methodist Home last year. And in my opinion, those are tax dollars well spent. I've made it my personal mission to spread news of this tax credit opportunity to every Georgian I can contact, including the 8 of you. Now, I'm speaking to you tonight as one more way of getting the word out that into our community that Georgia taxpayers can legitimately, I had somebody say, is this legal, Lynn? The answer is yes, it's legal. They can legitimately direct their tax dollars to help students like Mark at no additional cost. That's the key. And I want to tell you, Mark is one of your kids. He graduated from Harris County High School with your help, and we were so proud of him. We have 2 kids right now that graduated from Harris County who are receiving last year's state tax money through this Georgia state tax credit. So people I talk with, including CPAs, call this a win-win, a no-brainer, and I agree. It's a win for the taxpayer because you don't pay a dime more than you would already pay to the state of Georgia in taxes. You just simply redirect it to the Methodist home. And it's a win for students whose lives are blessed by the support that these tax dollars provide. So you received a document. I think Dr. Finney passed that out. Included in that are step-by-step instructions for how to apply for this tax credit through the State Department of Revenue. And I would urge you to network and share this information with friends, family, colleagues, anybody that you know is a Georgia taxpayer, as we seek to support some of the most vulnerable and valued students in our community. I thank you for what you've already done for our students at the Carpenter's Way Ranch at all levels. 4 schools serve our children at Carpenter's Way Ranch, and we're really grateful to all of you. So thank you in advance for sharing this information, and I can send it to you electronically if that's helpful for you so you can share it. Thank you, Dr. Finney.
All right, so that will take us to item I, the Harris County Board of Education review and approve attached meeting minutes from the board meetings held in October of 2024. I trust that everyone has reviewed those. I will now entertain a motion that we approve those minutes. Mr. Proctor, second. Dr. Sparks, any discussion? All in favor? So moved. That will take us to item J in our discussion agenda, and item J1, that the Harris County Board of Education listen to a curriculum update from Dr. Denny. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So as you know, we've been talking about for the past couple of years, House Bill 538, some of the new requirements that are coming. Tonight, we're going to talk briefly about the high quality instructional materials requirement. So if you flip to that section of my section of the agenda, you'll see the aligning state literacy policies and procedures. This is probably a 40-page document, and I just pulled out the pieces pertaining to the high quality instructional materials. We're not going to go through and read all that information, but it's there for you to see what's required. And if you flip to page 19, I've highlighted in yellow, one of the requirements is by December 15th, 2024 and August 1st, each year thereafter, local boards of education and public school governing bodies shall certify to the DOE that its locally approved instructional materials and content constitute high quality instructional materials. So this is sort of odd that I'm coming up with a discussion on the second meeting of the month, but because of our board meeting in December is December 19th after this deadline, I'm doing the discussion tonight. We're going to do an action item in the first board meeting next week to meet that. But just a brief thing about the high quality instruction materials. I think you all know that we've been working the past 5 years to take our 4 schools, get them on the same page, making sure we're using high quality instruction materials. So this is not just something we've started this year. It's a documentation process. And what you will be documenting, if you flip there's the next page here called the literacy guidance, the rubric for vetting materials. Again, I'm not going to go through what that rubric is, but essentially the state's provided guidance. What should we be seeing in these instructional materials in order to say they're approved? And of course, the biggest thing is that they're aligned with the science of reading research that's out there. And again, ever since I've started, that's what our goal has been, is getting research-based instructional materials in our teachers' hands. And we've been working on that. So the one thing that'll happen is this year we are doing what's called supplemental curriculum, because we've been putting pieces in place for the past 5 years, waiting for the Georgia standards to roll out. And of course, we know COVID pushed all that back. So it pushed back the essentially ELA adoption because we didn't want to adopt, get new standards, and then adopt or change again. So this year we're bundling all the little things that we've been doing the past 5 years, which are science of reading aligned. Next year, we will do this again, but we are going to adopt a core curriculum that the state has approved and that the teachers have gone through the vetting process and evaluating, and we'll do the approval for one core curriculum. All that to say, if you flip to after the rubric, you're going to get to a chart that looks like this. So these are many of the supplemental programs that we have in place currently in K-3. And remember, this is only a K-3 requirement. Anything in green, we've gone through and done the approval process. Anything in, we'll call that orangish yellow or yellow, I'm in the process of approving those. And then if you flip to the next page, anything in red, these are things that are being approved at the school level. So we've had the conversation with the principals and administrators. Basically, there are things that are, we don't necessarily do district-wide or personal to classrooms because we give that autonomy to our teachers, that the principals have to go through and approve with the rubric, whether or not it meets the science and reading standards. And I believe we have a really good core of administrators right now that's supportive of the research in the science of reading, and they will have that vetted. We should have that printed out. This will be updated by the time we take action at the next board meeting. Brief overview there, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what this is all about, is approving what the state says needs to be approved. Questions on that?
I have a question.
Mr. Levitt.
There's a column titled to be discontinued in 25-26, yet it's in the green section, but the column has an X under. Can you identify what that means?
All right, so anything that's, so right now we have our supplemental programs. So for example, Haggerty is in there, one of our great phonemic awareness programs. Because we're going to adopt a core curriculum that covers phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary comprehension, we don't want to pay for two resources doing the same thing. So that core curriculum is going to cover a lot of those resources and making sure that we're all on the same page, not doing different things.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
All right, so that will take us to item J2, that the Harris County Board of Education listed to a superintendent update from Dr. Finney.
So as I've made everyone aware, through discussion and on the agenda, come on up, Ms. Seha. Our FY23 audit has been completed by Robinson and Grimes, and we have a representative from Robinson and Grimes that's going to be here, that is here to review that audit. And the bottom line up front, we had no findings. So we were very much looking forward to this one. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Seha so she can introduce our guest and conduct this review.
So I just wanted to thank you all so much for the support that you gave to transition from Department of Audits to a CPA firm that really knows school finance and school terms and how to code things and the proper place in our financial statements. So I really appreciate your support in that transition. And yes, so this is Jenna K. Favors. She is a partner at Robinson and Grimes CPA firm. And so she's going to just give you a review of the fiscal year 23 financial statements in the audit.
And thank you all for having us. Good evening. So I've got a couple of things for you tonight. There's a book. These are your financial statements. And then there's also a letter. We'll go over that second. So we'll start with the bound financial statements again. So management, Megan and her staff, the financial statements are their responsibility. They give us all of the data, and we audit it. So our job is to give an opinion on how they did, keeping your books and records. So on the first page after that financial tab, there's, you'll see a letter on letterhead. And in that second paragraph there, it says, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects. So that's a clean opinion. That's a good opinion. And then there's a whole lot of other information in that opinion. And recently, they moved that paragraph to the first page, to the second paragraph. That used to be at the back. So, because they said nobody's reading all of this 3-page letter. So On the first page, the one that's numbered page 1 is your first financial statement. So that is your government-wide statement of net position. So it's sort of like the balance sheet, what you would equate to a balance sheet in a for-profit company. So, it shows all of the assets, and your government-wide financial statements are full accrual financial statements. So that's like a for-profit company, where you show the capital assets, you show the long-term debt, not how you keep your budget necessarily, but this is full accrual basis, accounting. So the big things to point out on your government-wide financial statements are your cash is down because you spent money on capital assets from the prior year. So from 2022 to June 30, 2023, cash is down because you spent money on capital assets. There are some other kind of big changes on there, if you were to compare, but it's all pension related stuff. So a few years ago, GASB said, hey, governments, you've got all of these pension liabilities, and we want you to put this on your government-wide financial statements. And so all of that information is now there, and it fluctuates based on their assumptions for these actuarial calculations they do, and it fluctuates based on the market, and they can kind of change a little bit more wildly than anybody would like. So there are some kind of significant changes for the pension related liabilities, but there's not really much you can do about it. It just is whatever the calculations come out to be based on the assumptions they use, based on the market conditions, and based on, the demographics of your population, your teachers and all. So the changes that you all control were the cash and spending on capital assets. And the second page is your statement of activities. That just details, the revenues and expenses of the school district. Again, no real big changes from the prior year in that regard. Page 3 and page 5 are your your fund level, your governmental fund financial statements. So page 3 is the balance sheet. Page 5 is sort of your income statement. It's called a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So that's more on your budget basis. So you don't see capital assets there on your balance sheet. You don't see long-term debt. And over on page 5, so the big expenditures there, sort of middle of the page, you see the capital outlay, that's paying for those capital assets. And then you did have debt service. You made your first principal payments in this year on your long-term debt. So those are really the most significant changes on the statements themselves. Page 9 starts the notes to the financial statements. Again, no big changes from the prior year, except on page 18, you've got your capital asset note, and it shows where you had those capital asset additions where you spent that money. Pages, there's several pages that have lots of notes on the pension and the OPEB related liabilities. But again, the changes there are not anything that you're really controlling. If you flip to the next tab, so the first letter in that next tab is our report on government auditing standards. So as part of your audit, we give a report on government auditing standards. We are required to test internal controls. We are required to evaluate those. And we don't give an opinion, but if we find something, we are required to communicate that to you if we have a finding. We stay here that we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting that we consider to be a material weakness. So that is a clean opinion there. And I know that Dr. Finney and Megan are both very proud of that. The next page is the letter where we test compliance and internal control over federal programs and the compliance with the compliance requirements that your different departments have to adhere to. So again, we found no material non-compliance, and we found no deficiencies in internal control over compliance. So again, a clean opinion. So congrats to Megan and her group, and to you know, your federal programs directors. We if you flip to that last section on this summary of auditor results, it kind of goes through and just summarizes all of our opinions. So item 1 says that we had an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion, an unmodified opinion on the financial statement. So that was that very first opinion we talked about. Items 2 and 3 are saying that we found no significant deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting, and no issues with compliance over laws and regulations over financial reporting. And items 4 and 5 are that we had no non-compliance and no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control over major federal programs. 6 says we had no findings. 7 shows that the federal programs that we tested were ESSER and special ed. So you know, when you have a single audit, y'all have lots of federal programs, and they're listed on one of the schedules further back in here. So we use all sort of calculations and criteria to decide which programs that we test. And so when we went through our steps and criteria, we needed to test ESSER. That's all the CARES Act and ARPA funds. And then we needed to test special ed this year. So those were the programs that we tested. You will see the number 9. It says that Harris County did not qualify as a low-risk auditee. That's based on the timing and on the prior audits. So after a couple of years of getting back to timely submissions and all, there'll be, you can get beyond that. And all that really, that low risk auditee status changes what we test primarily. So does anybody have any questions on any of that? Yes. Yes. We do look at internal control. We do not give an opinion on it. So that's just to say, we're not going to come in and say, yes, everything is in accordance with the way it's supposed to be. But if we find something, and that's standard, that's not, I mean, that's not specific to y'all. That's just the standard language. We don't give an opinion in that case, but we do test it, we do evaluate it. And then if we find something, we bring it to your attention. And it would be here in the report if it rose to the level to report it. So we just want to make sure we don't use the language that we're giving an opinion, because we don't give an opinion and nobody does. That's just standard. So second, there's this letter. So As part of our audit, we are required to communicate certain things with you all as governance for the school district. So mainly that we conducted the audit in accordance with the timing, and we didn't have any scope limitations from the procedures that we had planned. There's the significant accounting policies are outlined in your notes. The significant estimates that you all have are in the notes. The financial statement disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. There's no bias. That we didn't have any significant difficulties in performing the audit. So, I mean, there have been other issues. Normally, this is kind of boilerplate language. There have been clients that I've been to where, management was not open with stuff, and they would not provide us with anything, and they would drag their feet, and they would withhold information. And so in those cases, there's a lot of things that we have to consider if we feel like we finally got everything that we asked for. But a lot of times that would be the issue, is like, look, management drug this out and made the timing less desirable. So we didn't have any issues there. That's just to say that these things aren't always just clean and pretty like this with no issues. Sometimes we do have issues, but we did not have anything here with Megan and her staff. We had no disagreements with management over any of the accounting issues. And that's really it. Any questions? Again, we appreciate you all letting us come. I know y'all been with the Department of Audits for a long time. So we do appreciate you all having us.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that will take us to our action agenda and item K1, that the Harris County Board of Education select a board member to represent the Harris County School District on the Harris County Recreation Center Board for calendar year 2025. Mr. Goodnow. That would be me.
I'll second that.
So there's a motion and a second to keep myself as the Recreation Board liaison or representative. I'm happy to continue to do that. Unless somebody else, any discussion? Come on, speak up. All right. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor of Garnet Ray being named the Recreation Board representative? I'm not going to vote for myself. I will abstain. All right, so moved. And that will take us to item K2, that the Harris County Board of Education review for and approve the attached proposed revisions to board policy JBCB non-resident students. This is the changes that Dr. Finney and his staff put together for the revision of our non-resident student screening. Dr. Finney, did you want to speak on that?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that I've had some conversations with Greg Ellington on this, and he helped clarify this, that this is about student residency. It's not about student enrollment. So those that might have some concerns about student enrollment, we still will enroll students. So we already have policies that are in accordance with what the state requires as far as enrollment, and those grace periods you give, you have to enroll kids, and then you have 30 days to prove your residency. So this is about the residency, not about the enrollment. So in any questions where we have a residency question, we also have our policies that govern McKinney-Vento, which is homeless students, and we also have those that govern our affidavit process and those things as well. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody that might be listening, that this is a residency policy, not an enrollment policy. And so I would just remind everybody that the purpose of this was to add some substance to this policy to help with verifying residency, because as you know, as we grow, that can become an issue. And, we want to protect the taxpayers of Harris County with kids that attend or live in Harris County, attend Harris County schools, or they pay tuition. As we grow, this is going to be more and more important because every seat as we grow and are going to require those capital expansions of new schools, it's important that we have every seat for Harris County students first. And so in this document, the outline or the highlighted in yellow is what is affected by our revisions or changes. And it simply changes some of the proofs of residence and requirements that we would like to see. There's a few additions and deletions in there as well. But other than that, this would be tabled until December. I have talked to Greg that we're going to continue to cross-reference this with those other policies to make sure they're all working together and supportive of one another. So I'd be happy to answer any of your questions at this point if you have any.
Any questions? All right, so this revision, as it is a revision to one of our policies, will have to sit on the books for a month. And we will review this and or bring it back up for approval in our regular meeting on December 19th. All right. All right, so that will take us to item K3, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached proposed revision to the Harris County Board of Commissioners storage space MOU at Carver Center.
Okay, as we discussed last week, this is an amendment to the original MOU for those classrooms that they use at the Carver Center that are right across the hallway from the cafeteria. These would be 5 additional classrooms that go out that end hallway by what we call the tribunal room. There's 5 classrooms down there that we currently do not use. They're currently used for, I'm using this term very loosely, storage. I don't know that it's any productive storage, but they have asked that they be able to use that for additional space for record storage for the courts and also voting machines and things like that that they need. Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, I think there was some concern, I think, what you had about some of the language in this document. Is that right, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, are we ready for discussion now?
Sure.
Mr. Brett, go ahead. I was just curious as to, I think we talked a little bit about, Steve and I both. One was the potential for a fee for the space, which we're not, we have a fee on the other, but it's obviously very minimal, might still be free. And then the concern as to whether we felt we might have a need for this space before, allowing us to go forward. I do have a concern about 5 additional rooms that, I don't know, you and Mr. Fisher would know better than I do, but I just feel like that we're probably, not just busting with storage space ourselves, but, or there may be a potential. So aside from that is the rental fee. And if that's something that this board would like to consider, maybe not, Steve and I may be the only two. And if that's been given some consideration, but if I'm not mistaken, those are the 2 things we brought up last week.
So we can go back and look at a fee to address the issue of the use. There is a clause in here where we can do away with this agreement with notification. So if we did need that space later, we could do away with this agreement with the notification.
So, Mr. Chair, then if it's okay, I'd like to table this discussion to give Dr. Finney some time to do a little more research regarding some fees. If that's appropriate to bring it to the board, that would be my motion. That we table this till next month to do a little more conversation on that. And even, if it's not 5 rooms, is it 3 rooms? Then maybe it's the full 5. I don't know, but I really would like to entertain a rental fee. That would be my motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, may I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have some concerns under number 5 about the utilities. It states that they will pay us $100 a month for the gas and electricity. And then we will assume 100% for the water and sewage. I'm not sure if our water and sewage cost is equal to $100 or not, but I would like to compare those costs and make sure we're not on the bad end of that deal and all. And I agree with Mr. Lip. I don't think this agreement should be in, set up where it's forever, and I know it will revert back to us, but I just, we've given them space and everything before, and they continue to charge us for whatever they do for us, but we seem to give them stuff free and free and free. So I think there needs to be some financial reimbursement in regards to the use of our facilities.
Dr. Penny, do we have any kind of guidance as to what we would allow them to store in that facility? Does it have to be like documents or equipment, or could it be something that could be detrimental to the building?
No, it would have to be documents or voting machines is really what they've allowed to us that they would store in there. It's simply documents and those voting machines.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have something else?
I was gonna ask, also too, it just kind of came to mind, if we're talking about voting machines and all in regards to elections, are we responsible for that security, or are they, if something happened to them?
No, we're not responsible for it. And it's only, I think voting machines is probably a looser term. It's not the actual computer machines that they have. It's the supporting equipment, some of the electrical supporting equipment that they have. The actual voting machines, as I understand it, are actually delivered to them from the Secretary of State's office. Yeah, they don't keep those. It's just the stands, some of the electrical equipment that is needed to run that thing, but the actual secure voting machines, no, they would not be stored here. I don't know exactly where they were stored by the county. Yeah. I think it was in that old building up there across from, or right, the white annex building right there next to the courthouse.
All right.
So I will get with the acting county manager and the commissioner chair and express these concerns and get more information and details and specifics. Yes. Agreed. Yep.
All right, so as this was an action agenda item, Mr. Lip has made a motion that we table this until we would vote on it at this regular meeting in December, which would again be the 19th. So Mr. Lip has made a motion that we table. Do I have a second? Mr. Goodnow has seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor of tabling action item K3? All right, so moved. So we will revisit this again on December 19th. And Dr. Penny, you can put it on the action agenda item for the committee meeting. That way we can have some more discussion on that, and you can discuss the language and everything that you have at that time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so at this time, that will take us to our consent agenda. And I will entertain a motion from the floor that we take all of the consent agenda items in one motion. That would be item L1, the major purchases report, item L2, the financial report, item L3, the enrollment report, item L4, the school nutrition report, and item L5, the local school council meeting minutes. Mr. Proctor, second, Dr. Sparks. So that has been made, so we have to make that motion and then we have to vote on it, right? Or can we just do it all in one action? All right, so motion's been made and seconded, all in favor? All right, so that approves all of our consent agenda items. Thank you for your counsel on that. And that will take us to the news and information portion of our meeting. And this evening, I'm going to start with Mr. Proctor.
We start with that. Good luck, there you go.
Start with congratulations to the softball team. And I guess at the same time, wish good luck to the football team tomorrow as they play the first round of state playoff. I will say I enjoyed the school visit at Creekside today. And I'm sure I'm leaving out some things, but that's all I have.
Mr. Green.
Thanks, sir. Yes, I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed our visit to Creekside today. Ms. Sappington, you and your staff always do such a wonderful job when we come over there and visit, so thank you for that. Also like to say congratulations to the young ladies for winning the state championship, and of course us getting to recognize them tonight. And then all of our seniors that are on that team are going off to the next level to play and continue their education. I mean, I know a lot of people play sports because it's fun and it's enduring and they love to compete, but we gotta always remember they're student athletes and they're going on to continue their education at the same time. So congratulations to those 5 young ladies. Also like to say thank you to the Harris County Carver Middle School chorus for, their presentation tonight. I'm always glad that we can continue to support our arts here in Harris County when a lot of other school districts aren't able to, and that we can continue doing that because not everybody is in athletics or any of that kind of stuff. And we also want to be able to support those that have other avenues to go and do extracurricular activities as well. I'd like to say good luck to our cheerleaders tomorrow as they compete in state competition, with a happy mom sitting across from me as well. So hope those ladies perform well and represent us well, which I know they will, as they've got a very busy day tomorrow, because then after competing, they head right off to the football game to cheer on our football team after that. So lots of stuff still going on. I know wrestling has just kicked off this weekend. I think we kicked off this past weekend. And basketball is getting ready to start up. So now it's time for winter sports. And I hope, and I know we'll have lots of recognition to do with all those sports as well, but that's all I have.
Mr. Lip.
Yeah, I too want to say, congratulations to the students and the teachers. There's a lot of good things that are happening in Harris County. It's because of the students and the administration, the teachers, and a lot's already been said. I'm sure more will, but it's not just in the athletics, which is great. We recognize the softball team here. We talked about cheerleading. Cross country is doing amazing right now. It's in our vocational. I mean, the JROTC is doing great at their competitions. The construction team just won, beat all the other construction teams out in the air construction competition they had in Columbus. But academics as well. We've talked about just this week when Superintendent Woods was on site, recognizing Mulberry Creek for the STEAM achievement. We are now the first, that's in the spring, I guess, but just recognized by him this week again as the only school district in the state to have all of our elementary schools STEAM certified. The first one. That is significant, y'all. And so when we talk about that and we talk about the accolades that he acknowledged in the math achievements for our middle school and our Creekside, I said all that to say there are some great things happening in Harris County, and it is all because of our teachers, our students, and the community involvement that we have, and I'm very grateful. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the children that sang to us tonight. That was fantastic, and that was beautiful, and I just wish I could sing that well. That's all I have, sir.
Mr. Ellington. Mr. Goodnow.
Yes, I too appreciate the visit to Creekside. It's always good to get out to different schools, and each year, whoever the art teacher is there that has us paint our ceiling tile that we put up for years. I was trying to remember what year we actually started that, and then I was looking for the tiles and I couldn't find that. But I did have the chance to visit the meeting with Superintendent Woods, It is such an honor to have three schools come down and, recognize for their achievements that they do. I think it's kind of like us when we go visit the schools. I think he really likes to get out and go give these awards and visit them and see what's actually going on, the stuff that goes around. But all the kids that were there, Miss Allen did a great job of, I think, setting everything up, and it was just a great event to notice those accomplishments and all. And along with what everybody else has said, and ditto, and all our sports teams, and I'm not sure how the flag football ended up going tonight. I think they mentioned that, but I've been on this board for a long time and have seen the progress that we have made from year to year. And it's astounding from where we were and where we've come to this day and time. It's just hard to grasp from what I've seen before and what it is now. But it's great. And it's all due to teachers. It's like I say, if it was for teachers, it was for everybody. The bus drivers, we can't get them here. We can't teach them. Our lunchroom workers, everyone. It's like Dr. Spark says, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes all of us. And I think everybody and everyone does, because, we're proud of Harris County and what everyone can do and support it with it. But I appreciate being on the school board, and I appreciate being a resident of Harris County.
Ms. Oliver.
I was just gonna say, Megan, that word audit. I mean, nobody wants to do that. Nobody. And then to then be audited by someone outside, and then to have them come back with no finding of all that you have in your charge. Unbelievable. I don't just having worked in CSU with Federation, we got audited every year as well. And that constant, I was saying, congratulations. That's huge. We've done so, thank you for that. And we're just grateful for the professionalism that you have, the attention to detail, and your willingness to stay and do a lot extra. And we're grateful. Just wanted to say to Dr. Daly and Dr. Patterson, thank you for your faithfulness and how you always give us data and information that we have as we're out in the schools and in the community. When people come up and ask us stuff, it's so nice to be able to say, that's funny, I just saw a chart on that. And I can tell you that these were, that here's Dr. Daly, ever any further questions on this? And you know what's nice? If I know if they do, you'll get them the information. You both are very grateful. I'm very grateful. And lastly, I just wanted to say to Mr. Tracy and Mr. Hamilton, winning the skills challenge in Columbus. That picture is on Instagram, y'all, those faces and those heads, and to know those life skills that they're learning in each of those competitions, even the girls on stage that were holding the trophy, they were just, I don't know, there's something about that picture on Instagram it just changed the day for me, but I'm very grateful, and we're headed into Thanksgiving, and I made a covenant this year in 2024, every Thursday, to tell somebody in my life, either write a letter or tell them, call them, not text them, call them, and tell them I'm thankful for something that they did in my life, that helps make my life better. So on this Thursday, as we're going to end of Thanksgiving, I just want to thank Mr. Tracy and I want to thank you for investing in the lives of those students. They're doing great. That's all.
Dr. Sparks.
I want to thank Ms. Lynn for that valuable information. I had no idea, but I'll get on spread the word. And
Dr. Finney.
Well, a lot has already been said. Closer to home, we have our next Aspiring Leaders session next Tuesday. So we're looking forward to that. Ms. Baker's going to be teaching that and teaching our leadership candidates all about supporting students and student support services. So we're looking forward to that. We had a good principals meeting, and our principals meetings this year, we're doing a series with 2 Impact and Kim Cantrell, has been teaching us, and we learned a lot about coaching and coaching conversations this week, building upon our last month where we talked about accountability and kind of building on our book study that we're doing as all of the administrators and directors of trust. So I'm really enjoying learning with all of these great administrators, not just learning with them, but learning from them. These principals and these directors got into that meeting and they had some great ideas and great feedback. And we really do have some talented leaders in this district, and they just amaze me. We had last week a lot of Veteran Day activities going on. I think all of the schools had something going on, and I was able to go to several of them. And until you go to one of these in Harris County, you don't really understand the impact that the veteran community has in this county. But we have a lot of veterans in this county. And when you really think about it, they do have a significant impact on the success of our county, of our schools, the way our kids are brought up and raised. And it's just good to see all of them, young and old, and that those Americans that have sacrificed want to come to Harris County and live, because a lot of them get out at Fort Moore and they could go anywhere in the United States that they want to go, to the four corners of the earth, but they elect to stay here. And they're on our ball teams, and they're on our PTOs, and they're driving our buses, and they're in our classrooms. And so I just want to say thank you to all of them, and thank you to all of the schools for honoring that group. That's all.
Well, I'm in the ditto column tonight. Y'all got everything I had. Ms. Sappington and your staff, thanks for a great visit. It's always great to get out to the schools and see you guys in action. It was a great time for the board to get together as a group and see what our students do every day and our teachers do every day in the classroom. And it's always great to do that. I too want to echo the sentiments that Ms. Oliver had. Ms. Seha and your finance department, rock stars. Great job. I can barely balance my checkbook. I couldn't imagine balancing all of that and not finding an error. I'm gonna pin stroke something wrong somewhere. So great job with that. And you left off one of the parents in the room. There's another cheerleader parent right over there, Miss Baker. But Thanksgiving holidays coming up, as Miss Oliver mentioned. We'll have a lot of our students and families on the road, going to visit with family and friends. We wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe, and we'll see you all back in school after that week off. But we still have one more week of school. Don't check out just yet.
Don't shut it down.
Don't check out just yet. At this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve the personnel recommendations made by the superintendent. Mr. Green, second. Mr. Proctor, any discussion? All in favor? And at this time, I will make a motion that we adjourn for the evening, seconded by Mr. Goodnow. All in favor? I'm not giving you a chance for discussion. We are adjourned.